All right, let's dive in. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on pretty much every customer service chat or AI assistant you've ever dealt with. We're going to unpack this tale of two bots, and you're going to find out why the chatbot you're using is probably way smarter and also way simpler than you think.
But hang on, before we go any further, do me a quick favor. Like, comment, and slam that subscribe button for @BrandTechOff. It takes a second, but it means the world to us. Okay, let's do this. So, let's start with a feeling I think we all know way too well. Have you ever been stuck in one of those circular arguments with a chatbot that just doesn't get it? You know, you're trying to explain a perfectly simple problem and it just keeps spitting back the same three totally unhelpful options. It's maddening, right? Well, there's a very specific reason that happens, and it all starts with the first of our two bots.
So let's meet the old guard, the rule-based robot. This is the classic, the OG, the kind of bot that really laid the foundation for everything that's come since.
So what is this thing really? Well, a rule-based chatbot isn't thinking at all. It's more like a digital puppet that's following an incredibly detailed script. Every single conversational path, every possible answer, every decision it could possibly make, it's all been meticulously mapped out and hard-coded by a human. It's all about following predefined workflows and spotting specific keywords.
The way it works is actually pretty straightforward. The bot is basically just listening for a keyword, something like refund or password. As soon as it hears that word, it goes down a very strict, unchangeable logic path that a developer built. All its answers are just pre-written templates. So if you ask a question it doesn't have a keyword for, or if your phrasing is even a little bit fuzzy, the whole system just hits a wall. It has absolutely zero ability to improvise. And that leads to this, the phrase that haunts our digital nightmares, right? This is the classic dead end of a rule-based system. The bot can't understand you, so it just falls back on its script, trying to force you back into its tiny, predefined box. Sound familiar?
But you know, all that frustration actually paved the way for something totally different. So let's talk about the new wave, the machine learning mind.
Now, this is the tech you're hearing about everywhere. It's the engine behind things like ChatGPT. Instead of a rigid script, this kind of bot is built on what's called a large language model, or LLM. It's been trained on a truly insane amount of text data from the internet, from books, from articles, which lets it understand, and this is the important part, generate its own natural-sounding dialogue on the fly. So how does it think? Well, it's less about following strict rules and more about recognizing and predicting patterns. It can handle your open-ended, messy, human sentences. It gets context, it gets nuance, it can even pick up on a bit of sarcasm. It doesn't just shoot out a template, it actually simulates a conversation, sometimes even a bit of empathy. And it can learn and get better based on its chats with you. It's a dynamic partner, not just a static flowchart. Okay, so we've got the rigid, predictable robot on one side and the flexible, creative mind on the other. What happens when we actually put them head to head? Let's break it all down. This is really where it all comes together. Look, on one hand, you've got the rule-based bots running on those set workflows. Their absolute superpower is safety and control. You know exactly what it's going to say, which is critical in certain fields. The big weakness, though, it's rigid. It feels unnatural. It's really best for simple, structured tasks. Then you got the LLM-based bots. They offer incredible flexibility and can build a real connection. But their great weakness is the risk of hallucinations, where they just confidently make stuff up. They totally excel at open-ended, natural conversation. So what this really boils down to is a fundamental trade-off. Are you aiming for certainty, or are you aiming for creativity? Do you need the predictable safety of a system that can't possibly go off script, or do you need that dynamic human-like interaction that can handle pretty much anything you throw at it? For a long time, businesses had to pick just one. And this choice has some incredibly high stakes. A recent meta-analysis took a look at 15 different clinical trials where these two kinds of bots were being used for mental health support. Yeah, we're not just talking about customer service anymore. We're talking about real-world clinical impact. And, you know, the results were probably not what you'd expect. As you can see from this data, the dumber, rule-based bots actually showed a small but statistically significant positive effect on symptoms of depression. So why? Well, because their structured, clinically approved conversation paths provided a super safe and reliable way to help. The more advanced LLM bots, even though they felt more empathetic, just didn't have enough robust evidence yet to prove they were effective, partly because their unpredictable nature makes them a lot harder to control and study in a clinical trial. Okay, so if the safe bot is effective but frustrating, and the smart bot is empathetic but kind of risky, where on earth do we go from here? Well, the verdict is in, and the future is hybrid. That's right. The solution isn't to pick a side in this battle of the bots. It's to create something entirely new, an intelligent collaborator that combines the strengths of both, creating something that's way better than the sum of its parts. Let me walk you through how this works because it is just brilliant. First, the LLM engine, the smart part, listens and understands what you're saying, no matter how complex or emotional it is. It gets what you really mean. But, and here's the magic, before it can just respond, these rule-based guardrails kick in. They act like a safety net, making sure the conversation stays within safe, pre-approved boundaries. And only then does the LLM generate a response that's both deeply personal and empathetic, but also guaranteed to be clinically safe and appropriate. It's the perfect team-up. Which brings us to one last, pretty provocative thought. We started this whole thing talking about the frustration of a simple chatbot. And we've ended up here, with a system that could provide safe, empathetic, and effective mental health support. This tech is moving at an unbelievable pace. So the real question isn't just about how we're going to order a pizza or reset a password in the future. It's about the deeply human roles that AI is getting ready to take on. So, will your next therapist be a hybrid AI? It might just be